Welcome back to Prehistoric Max Difficulty Achievement Run. After surviving the extreme food shortage for 35 cycles, we are gonna get some fiber from the Rhex so we can make atmo suits today. But did I really overcome starvation? Maybe not quite yet. My home planet has just completely run out of food. I really need to eat some critters now. There's jawbone meat already being cooked in the smoker, but it takes more than an entire cycle to finish cooking, so I have to find some more quick food source. These little dartles only gives 800 kilocalories per critter. I wasn't bothering to mess with these, but in urgent situations, 800 is better than zero. Lums are still pending for reproduction. Jalbos are already being hunted by me. Rhex also gives much more food than dartles, but I want to shear them first before I eat them. They are the only source of feather fiber, which is the reed fiber equivalent in Relica, so why not set up a shearing station for them now? For the 4 major failable achievements, here's the current progress. Locavore is 70% complete, but this achievement isn't really time pressured. Its difficulty mostly comes from restricting the early game food source. Once we survive the initial food crisis, Locavore is always auto-completed while doing Carnivore. Carnivore is like 10% complete. With my current dupe count, I need 35 entire cycles of everybody eating meat to complete it in time unless I print more dupes, so I have to keep exploring for more meat source. For Demolier, I need 100 blast shots, and I haven't started making any yet. But the preparations are almost complete. If all the ingredients are ready, it only takes 14 cycles of non-stop crafting to make all 100 shots. Since I have some high machinery dupes, it will likely take much shorter time. Super Sustainable is also less than 10% done, but this isn't something to worry about. I am quite used to just using sustainable generators, even in my normal runs. When I start making the blast shots, the high power consumption will make a lot of progress on this one. So these nits are annoying indeed. They will sting the dupes, causing stress and sneezing, and they even get a big reproduction boost after they sting someone. If they are allowed to fly and sting as they wish in my base, their numbers could possibly multiply and become an ultimate annoyance. I had better get rid of the loose ones as soon as I see them. How did these 2 nits even get here? Shouldn't the doors be blocking them? They drop nothing on death, so I hope I get rid of all these loose ones in one go and not waste more time dealing them in the future. The chlorine level down here is rising, and about to intrude my base, I should probably remove the bleachstone source, which keeps generating chlorine. However, the environment right now isn't very suitable for working, and it might be very inefficient though. Don't really got that much time for this at the moment. As the actual chlorine pressure isn't very high yet, I decided to produce oxygen down there so the oxygen could push the chlorine back. It's possible to use a 3-tile high vertical liquid hop block to completely prevent the chlorine from escaping without giving soggy feet debuff for the dupes. But isn't it fun to sometimes use some other natural solutions? The shearing station is completed. It is time to relocate some Rhexes in convenient areas into the room so I can get their fibers. As soon as their fiber is sheared, that's also more meat available for me. This oxygen diffuser down here already started producing oxygen, but dupes still got a brief suffocation warning just from going in the non-breathable zone for this deep. This distance isn't really long, but with all the liquid slowing them down and giving them soggy feet, chlorine giving them eye irritation to also hurt their athletics, and time spent on doing some animations due to these penalties, they end up taking much longer time than usual to finish the travel. If this new oxygen diffuser wasn't added, they would really risk dying to suffocation or spent the entire time running back and forth without doing anything. These 2 lums are at about 80% reproduction. Almost there, I could probably get enough figs to make them lay the egg in about 10 to 15 cycles. Suffocation warning is still occasionally happening. I've added even another oxygen diffuser down here to make their work even easier. Meanwhile, Lindsay the Digger is up to 80% stress. It's increasing every time she steps in liquid or getting chilly surroundings. The dupes will be slightly distressed while sleeping, But normal sleep time is not enough to keep up with the current stress sources. I have prepared a sleeping and downtime only schedule. If things ever get out of hand, I could switch the dupe to this schedule for a vacation. On top of sleeping, this should also stop them from stepping into stressing environment again. I personally almost never use massage tables, even on max difficulty. Rowan has been working all by himself in Second Planet for a few cycles now. Oh, wait! This liquid drip lock isn't actually completed yet. I've got the bottle here, but it was never emptied. Funny that the natural gas didn't escape yet. Since everyone else left this planet, the food stockpile looks much better. I've stopped sending food this way, but I got 4 cycles worth of food here. This planet can indeed feed some dupes forever, with only the wild critters and plants. It just can't feed that many. 2 Rexes coming in. I haven't made up my mind to actually ranch them properly, but other than shearing, it's still nice if I got them reproducing, so I added a grooming station to track and speed up the progress. Lindsay is almost 90% stressed. Going sopping wet every cycle is sure too much. Maybe it's time to get her the vacation. Yeah, let's do it. Almost forgot, I brought an extra dupe back from Teleporter, so I gotta add a 4th cot for it. 2 lavatories serving 4 dupes on split schedules seems fine though, so I'll leave it like that. Since oxygen supply is fine down here now, I guess I'll remove more dartles from here, not only just to get the miserable amount of meat, but to stop them from making new bleach stones everywhere. This Megaphron is a new DLC plant. Their food recipe kind of works like sleet wheat, but they grow by consuming chlorine. The bottom was flooded with carbon dioxide, so it probably can't grow for now. Second Rex being wrangled, and stray dartles being dealt with. Rexes can eat dartles though, so I still want to keep some of them alive in case I want to feed the Rexes later. Time to collect my fibers. Are these Rexes sheared yet? The shearing station says no critters available, so both of these should have been sheared. Where's the fiber though? I can't find it on the ground. Let me check from the resource tab. 0 units? That doesn't make sense. Each Rex should be producing 2 fibers, and I'm pretty sure I haven't spent any fibers yet. On the other hand, if I have never gotten any fibers in this colony, the feather fiber won't even show up in the resource tab entry. When you search for something that has never been discovered yet, it's not supposed to show in search result. So, what's going on here then? No idea. Maybe I'll get a 3rd Rex here and monitor its shearing progress personally. Which Rex should I try to get? I guess I'll try to get one from this area. I gotta make the digging shape a bit irregular, so the brine could stop more chlorine from flowing into my base. Meanwhile, Teleporter was down to 0 food again. I thought the wild food growing speed is enough to feed Rowan, but maybe he didn't spend enough time harvesting or cooking. Should I cook a Paku now? Or maybe I'll just teleport Rowan back to home too. This definitely doesn't mean giving up on this planet though. I shall return soon for the oil. Anyway, time to watch this 3rd Rex. It looks shearable, and it is apparently being sheared right now. Gotta check its current scale growth too. Yes, it's currently at 100%, and now it has just went down to 0 as the shearing ended. So where's the fiber? Checked again, and the database in game definitely shows it gives feather fiber. Is the game trolling me again? I have really no idea, so I went to my Discord and asked for help. No, it's not on the floor. I've checked it so many times. Okay, so you're telling me the fiber is entombed below the door, huh? I'll give it a try to dig it out. If this is not the case, the game would be literally unplayable. Alright, so the fiber is indeed hidden here. 12 fiber is enough to make 6 atmo suits. That would be more than enough for me to last until cycle 100. Discord is being really helpful this time. If you are interested to discuss oxygen not included in my Discord, the link is in the pinned comment. Not long after I run into this issue, Clay has fixed this bug. Maybe I'm one of the last to be fooled by this. As I am expanding towards the surface, I got some liquids leaking into my base. I didn't really see this coming because I am confident I haven't dig into any liquid packets or pools on the top. But soon I realized it's the brine ice generated in this map that melted after they are dug. Their melting point is around negative 16 degrees Celsius, which is much below ice, so they would easily melt when contact with temperate biomes. Gonna mop these up for sure, but I have set the priority so they start mopping from the top. Otherwise, they might mop from the bottom while the liquid is still dripping from the top. That would make the mop taking forever. They did mop the liquid on the top quickly, but soon I realized there's liquid dripping again. It turns out I haven't cleared the solid brine ice themselves. Somehow only a part of them melted and others stayed at solid. That's really annoying. I'll try to deal with it by digging a small pit for it, so they would at least flow into and stay in the pit instead of continuing to drip into my base. Time to do more exploring, more S-shaped digging in parallel with ladders. There might be more brine ice tiles on the path, but at least when I'm digging vertically, the melted brine would just fall downwards, instead of flowing into my base when I'm digging horizontally. Speaking of brine, I just got more brine in my ranch. This is because Rhex would excrete brine ice after they consumed critters or meat. After shearing the 3 Rhexes, I decided to separate them into different rooms because I want to try feeding one specific tamed Rhex to make it reproduce faster. There's also one in my bedroom, which is the 3rd Rhex that I just sheared, and it is wild. I'll just wait for it to reproduce on its own. Another one is in my bathroom. It's just waiting to be eaten later. There's some good news in the Lum Ranch. One of them has reached 99% reproduction. It should be laying an egg any moment in this cycle, even without feeding. After that, I could finally eat it, and there will be only one Lum left to micro, much easier to manage. I'm also gonna deconstruct this door so the Lum won't get an occasional confined status when it walks past the door. When there's only one left, I'll let it eat as much as it wants. Lindsay is getting near 90% stress again. She was better when I gave her a vacation, but it grew back after she returned to work. Speaking of stress, we've got a neural vacillator here. It could grant a random positive bonus trait to a dupe when being used. One of the best trait for the max difficulty would be the Sunny Disposition trait. It's a permanent 20% per cycle stress relief, pretty much just canceling the permanent 20% per cycle stress source from the difficulty setting. That would give the dupe a much easier time, especially when in space travel. There's no guarantee you will get the trait you want though, unless you keep save and loading to try. Otherwise, we could only depend on luck or use multiple charges of the vacillator on the same dupe. Second Lum egg incoming. It took about 20 cycles, but I finally got it. It's time to say goodbye to the Lum. Gotta check their status to make sure I eat the correct one. Yup, this one, with the 1% reproduction, is the one going. I'm down to 3,000 kilocalories again, so it's a nice time to have a huge batch of food incoming. As I am getting near the surface, there's 2 Jawbos just above me. Counting in their potential egg, I've already found 4 Jawbos so far, and could possibly get to eat 8 of them. 8 Jawbos plus 5 to 6 Lums would almost make up for 400,000 kilocalories. The rest could be filled with Rhex or Paku and Dartles. Now I just have to actually survive and wait till they all actually lay the egg. For the first 50 cycles so far in this run, it really feels like I'm playing Don't Starve Together. We didn't really do much automation or industry. Most of the times, we're just exploring into different biome, harvesting, and cooking wild food. Well, apparently we are now starving together. 2 starving? No, 4! The long duration for the smoker cooking really makes every cycle a thriller. When the starvation warning pops up so many times, you could really start being insensitive about it. But we still have to keep the awareness and estimate if the new food is gonna being produced within half a cycle when the warning shows up. The actual time I've resolved this one, since the first starvation warning, is about 45 seconds in game. That's far from half a cycle, or 300 seconds, so there's no need to panic. I did not set a yellow alert or do anything out of the ordinary anyway. There's a lot of polluted water in the Jawbo pool up here. Fortunately though, I've already opened up the packet on the bottom, so I could just open up the top randomly and make most of the polluted water fall to the bottom. Not sure if that will drown the Rhex on the bottom, but I've got enough fiber for now. If it drowns, I can at least still eat it. Yep, the Rhex is drowning. The Jawbos up here are crowded, but it should be fine as long as it's not cramped or confined. I noticed I haven't tracked the Jawbo egg in the resource tab though. Gotta do that now. I need some ladders here to retrieve the tough meat. Oh, almost forgot to actually finish researching the atmo suit technology. This final lum is also at 99% reproduction. I feel like the carnivore challenge is almost over and a new era is coming soon. Notice here, there's a huge height difference where the jawbow is. The dupes cannot access the part to the right yet, and the issue is, if the jawbow laid an egg on the right, the jawbow egg would not be tracked into the resource tab since it is not accessible by the dupes. Gotta flatten the border a bit to prevent that. The knit larva seems wounded, probably freezing due to the cold water flowing in. But why would I care about them? I am just half a screen away from breaching the surface. This is likely the last mandatory digging I need to finish at home planet. After the path to the surface is cleared, the digger Lindsay would be free to return to Teleporter Planet anytime. The final lum has just finished reproducing too. Time for it to go to the Great Hall again. Now there will be quite a few cycles that I would have 0 lums and only lum eggs. The bathroom Rhex. I guess it can also go now. The ranch Rhex. Well, it's at 99% reproduction. I wouldn't need to feed it anymore, since it can reproduce at 0.8% per cycle, even when starving and glum. The lum egg in the Great Hall 15 cycles earlier is almost hatching. Now that the ranch won't have cramping issue anymore, I'll just move it into the ranch. Moving an egg would be easier than moving a hatched lum. I just realized from the resource tab that the second jawbo egg is laid. It is hard to see where it is though, but we can navigate between the eggs directly by clicking on the resource tab entry. So there is indeed an egg in this pool, likely hidden behind the paku egg, the ladder, or the jawbo itself. Without the aid of resource tab, I would probably never spot it in time. I can't see these jawbo reproduction progress since they are wild, but since one is significantly older than the older one must be the one that has just reproduced and be made into food. By the way, here's an achievement I have just completed, but I wasn't paying attention then. Can you guess which achievement is this? Let us know in the comments below. Somehow, there's liquid dripping into the base again. There's just too much random brine ice scattered everywhere. I decided to build some tiles to serve as a buffer, so little amount of liquid will now be held in this little pit instead of flowing down. I should have done this the first time it happened. Silly me! Most of the liquid ended up flooding the fridge. I tried to mop it, but there was too much liquid already. So I decided to just dig a few tiles on the side so the liquid would spread out and the dupes could mop them again. Oh boy, so much mopping to do. I hope this doesn't stress the dupes out. As I checked, Ellie is also in the stress club now. Her morale isn't even high enough to get the full high morale effect, which requires 2 more morale than expected. The cause is likely because the food supply has been unstable for a long time, and if they ever skip a meal, they would miss out on the Great Hall morale until they get to eat. This is an occasional stress source for sure. I was just randomly digging on this side to reveal more maps and see if there's more stuff I can eat. There's lure plants and polluted water vent on the bottom left. That would be handy later for sure, but I wonder if there's even more jawbos. Ellie is almost reaching her limit. Time to give her the sleeping vacation. In fact, not all dupes are equal. I am more worried about Ellie's stress conditions than Lindsay. We'll talk about that later. Now that I think of it, I have 12 fibers, and each Atmo suit needs only 2, so I only need 10 fiber to make a suit for all of my 5 dupes. I can spare 2 fiber to make a carpet tile, right? The carpet is fixed to a particular cot, but I could switch the assignment of the cot manually, depending on which dupe needed the stress relief the most. Research is done. Let me take a look. Yeah, it's hazard protection, the research needed for making Atmo suits. But as the Atmo suit wears out very fast in max difficulty setting, it's better if I have some backup fiber. So I'm gonna fetch one more Rhex from this biome. The chlorine leak is concerning, and I tried to bring brine to liquid lock the entrance at the time, but afterwards, I realized the environment might be too cold for any liquid I currently have, and the brine might just freeze and failing to hold the chlorine. Since my only goal is to steal the Rhex and run, I could just seal the packet by building a tile to block it completely. I have found one more jawbone pool here. This pretty much marks the end of the epic hunting for critters to satisfy carnivore. With both food and fiber settled, we are ready to return to the teleporter and set up the industry. See you next video!